Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the 2015 Mid-Season Invitational, coming to you live from Tallahassee, Florida. Hello, everyone. I'm Max Atlas Anderson, manning the caster desk for the next 3 games. David Freak Turley and Sam Kobe Hartman Kensler, and it is wonderful to be here with these guys. It is time for our 4th match of the day with Besiktas Esports Club taking on Team Solo Mid. And TSM will be looking to rebound after a very disappointing first game in which they were soundly beaten by Fnatic.
And it showed us right away teams preparing for the TSM style. They don't pay any attention to Dyrus. Well, in comes Fnatic, bringing in a carry top laner, camping that top lane repeatedly, crushing that matchup, carrying through Huni. Very good by them. Santorin, we didn't see much of him at all. Yeah. We didn't see any counter ganks, no pressure on the other side of the map. 2 things I want to look for in this series.
Yeah, that was a little bit disappointing not to see TSM adapt. But, you know, some things are going in favor for TSM. They're not a team that tilts. They are a team that wins the consecutive games after their first games, usually in best.
If only it wasn't a series.
I mean, the group stage is essentially a big best of 5. You just play 5 games in a row.
That's the only difference.
Yeah, whatever, it's fine. But TSM lost the first game of the series just like the NA playoffs. Now the 4-0 sweep for TSM. It's written in stone.
What is the same is the period between games where they get to adapt. They go talk to their coaching staff.
Yeah,
they get to go talk to their analysts, and they can countermeasures, come up with countermeasures.
Yeah, work out the way to get there. But as the players get ready, Tholdren talks about the determination Besiktas Esports Club is bringing to MSI.
The rest of the world thinks that we are gonna do 0-5 in group stage. I mean, lose all the games. But I think we can win 1 or 2. So we will do our best to prove themselves that we are not the underdogs here.
Let's review the starting lineups. On the blue side, it's Besiktas Esports Club with, in the top lane, Tholdren. The jungle, Theocles. Mid lane is Energy, and AD carry, Nadius, with the support, Dumbledoge.
And of course, coaching for them is Lethleon. On the red side, though, is Team Solo Mid. Top laner, Dyrus. Jungler, Santorin. Mid laner, Bjergsen. AD carry, Wild Turtle. Supporting Lustboy, and their coach, Loco Doco.
And man, this is going to be a massive matchup. I'm excited to see whether Besiktas can bring out sort of their mid lane killing strategy and try and get one on Bjergsen this time.
I mean, so far, Dumbledoge is coming in with first blooding Faker,
killer,
a pretty good way to start a Invitational. So if you have that aggression come out again here, it was shown to be the big weakness of TSM. So that is one thing I do think is a point in their favor.
Yeah, or continue on with target bans at Dyrus, throw 3 bans up at Dyrus, and that has also been shown to be a weak point there for TSM. And really though, Santorin, if all these bans are going to be going towards mid lane and towards top lane, he's going to have his pick of the litter, and he should have an earlier impact this game.
Yeah, and does he pick Sejuani this time instead of the Rek'Sai? Is that a thing?
I mean, it really depends what you want to do. I think Rek'Sai is a good early aggressive jungler. We didn't happen to see the ganks come out, but if you look at those sort of top 4, Sejuani, Nunu, Gragas, Rek'Sai is the one you pick for early pressure. I think we can see that come out here. We've seen Santorin do very well in international competition, right? Reigning IEM world champions. And overall, I think TSM still are the big favorites coming in here. It's just a matter of them executing properly, and I think people expect TSM to still win this matchup.
Well, that is most definitely true, but we are into Champs Select, ladies and gentlemen. LeBlanc going to hit the bench first, and Team Solo Mid going to answer back with Tholdren's Rumble, which I can tell you from experience is terrifying. I can't tell you that well.
Yeah, no surprise there with the Rumble. Big ultimates coming from Tholdren to get them here to the MSI.
They got also removed away from Bjergsen. Again, these guys, a lot of time to be able to research their opponents. You can watch the playoffs, you can watch the last few games of the regular season as well, understand what's common for these guys so far. Bjergsen taking off a lot of playmakers, one of the tried and true ways to try to push down Team Solo Mid a little bit, and it won't be those Dyrus bans.
Yeah, so Dyrus should be able to pick up, one of the more comfortable, safe champions that he can take in that top lane and sort of take more abuse without dying.
Yeah, and the Urgot ban is interesting to me here as well, aimed mostly at Bjergsen, you could imagine, but Besiktas were sort of used to more playing that against an AD carry playing Urgot.
Yeah, I don't know if Wild Turtle has learned the champion. We have seen teams grow the champion pools, right?
Yeah,
Uni brought out Cassiopeia. We saw Urgot come out for the first time as well by Fnatic, so there's certainly growth available to all these teams. They've had a few weeks to grow those champion pools and bring out something surprising. Gragas removed away from Santorin, even though we haven't seen him play the champion yet today. Just Besiktas trying to get rid of what they think is scariest from TSM.
Yeah, and Theocles probably looking for that first pick Sejuani as well. He does love to play that champion, and he'll grab that whenever he can. We'll see whether it's going to work out, though, because they may need to have more early pressure.
Well, TSM happy to play an objective control game themselves, though, and I feel like Nunu would easily be able to stay in this champion pool and picked up early by Santorin if he wants to. Ari removed away from Energy, so another assassin ripped off the pool there. It's always strange to me seeing a team ban champions that they are comfortable playing themselves. Bjergsen's run a number of Ari games throughout the North American playoffs, but apparently TSM doesn't want to run that champion themselves.
I mean, we've seen so many teams target ban Energy with this Ari, and he's kind of a point that teams, especially with middle players like Bjergsen, have been looking to attack. So you take away the Ari from Energy, one of his comfort picks, and see if they can get something. You know, maybe they're going back to their tried and true strategy of, we're going to have Santorin in the mid lane early on, get Bjergsen fed, maybe he's on Assassin or something, and take over the game that way, because that's how they have had a lot of success in the past.
Yeah, and this is the thing as well, as in the IWCI Grand Final, that was the massive contested mid lane pick, was that Ari pick. Tokka's on the side of Ince as well was fantastic on that champion, so making sure that they get rid of that, because that was the contention there in the mid lane. But it is going to be Dumbledoge on his Morgana, and this guy was doing work on that champion.
Likely to see maybe a Thresh there from Lesboy then. He's really trended back towards this champion. But as the first pick is support, they don't have to take away early, and TSM get to have 2 power picks. Dyrus could easily take up Maokai, which he's been a big fan of, or the Lulu as well. So I think one of those 2 will go to Dyrus. Santorin going to get his hands on that Sejuani very early, take it away from Theocles. Don't let Besiktas have any sort of, big AoE crowd control to work with.
And of course, a big home crowd here for Team Solo Mid. We saw Besiktas win the International Wildcard Invitational off of a home crowd themselves over in Turkey. TSM now themselves enjoying that benefit, and they will pick the team fightiest champions there. Sivir and Sejuani picked up. 5-on-5, gonna be good for them.
Yeah, TSM looking to simplify the game. Just get it so they can have a very strong 5 versus 5, get that dragon control, win the early team fights, and not let this game get out of their hands.
Yeah, Nadius very much loves to play the Sivir as well, so picking that away from him is a very good idea. We'll see whether he goes back to his Lucian. Thinking about Katarina and Zyra at the moment may not necessarily be coming through.
Jungle Katarina, less likely. I feel like Theocles
Jungle
run
Zyra, though, that can work. You got plants fighting plants in the jungle, stuff like that?
Back when you had Lizard Elder, you could have your plants.
Are you guys okay?
Leandri's Torment and Lizard Elder. It was a great choice.
I'm from the Oceanic region, man. Things happen differently.
He's still
over
upside
there.
down. Max is actually casting with his hands on the ground. He's, doing handstand in this one.
Give it away, man.
Vladimir does get picked up, though, and Ghost Flash for energy means he's actually probably going to be playing that Vlad himself. The Rek'Sai does come through here with the Sejuani grabbed away, so Theocles, maybe that ban's slightly hurting them, but the Rek'Sai early aggression is still going to come out here.
Ooh. Bjergsen hovering over the assassin mid. Maybe they will go back to the tried and true. But Vladimir in the early game, if he can get through the early stages versus Zed, then he'll be able to try and be a sustained beast in the mid lane.
You have a
bit of a foothold. They do have Rek'Sai, but
and the problem is Vladimir's good against Zed anyway. I can't see. I wouldn't, if I was TSM, pick the Zed here. Bjergsen might have his other ideas for this one, but in my mind, it's not a great pickup here for Bjergsen. Hovering for now, but whatever. Sion for Dyrus, I think, is a very good choice. Another big frontline tank. I want to see if Bjergsen does want to play, as Jack keeps calling them, control mages, team fight mages. And it looks like they might even just leave the mid lane pick for last.
And I was going to say, Maokai is a much better idea.
There's
with
the
Sivir on the hunt as well.
Maokai.
Man, so good.
Yeah, those are the 2 picks we were looking for Lustboy and Dyrus.
It's also worth pointing out, we don't know where that Vlad, TSM doesn't know where the Vlad is going. Energy's got the summoner spells here, and we can see that it's going to be mid, but Vlad, of course, would be a flex pick. Thaldrin, a big carry top laner, would play Vlad himself, so TSM making sure they get Bjergsen a good lane matchup.
Yeah, and you may as well just save your mid lane pick till last as well, and Energy thinking about maybe going for a Lulu, potentially, unless Dumbledore is going to pick that one up, because they could give it to Thaldrin in the top lane, but that's not necessarily one of his champions.
Yeah, that would probably go back to Energy. I mean, if we're talking about, how many champions could be swapped around.
Yeah, I know. It's
Morgana
can stay in the top lane. Oh my goodness.
But really, they're just trying to protect themselves since, Bjergsen does have the counter pick option here.
What is the safest pick? You could say Lulu, probably the safer option here in the mid lane.
I mean, his Lulu wasn't bad. He did, he was part of First Blooding Faker. He almost 1v1 the guy afterwards. Lulu does get picked up in here. And with energy swapping to Ignite, I think that is actually going to be the mid lane Lulu. The Lucian AD carry coming in as well. So definitely a lot of late game team fight power coming out as Vladimir will scale up. And you expect that Thaldrin should have an easy time farming. The difficulty, though, Vladimir not the best gank assister, so the whole camp and kill Dyrus thing much less likely.
Plus, the team fight from TSM right now is so much more reliable than the team fight from Besiktas. Even though they do have some AoE, so much more crowd control here from TSM. Hard crowd control, easy to hit. And all they need is another strong damage source.
Well, Azir would probably get there. If you're talking about consistent damage, you're not going to get much better than that, apart from the likes of a Cassiopeia, you'd have to say. We'll see what he does decide to go with, and Ziggs would be interesting.
Ziggs and Karthus are two of the other big ones that I like as big team fight mages. Ziggs is the champion. TSM boatloads of wave clear and ridiculously good team fighting. TSM all about the 5v5 top to bottom.
So much AoE damage coming through as well, not to mention Dyrus protecting his whole team.
Yeah, I really do like this comp from TSM just because it's so simple and so safe. They have tons of wave clear. They can just hold on, wait for those team fights, force them at the dragon. They have all kinds of AoE. Dyrus on the most reliable teleporter there is. Maokai can easily come in, point and click. There's your fight.
Meanwhile, Besiktas, of course, they're going to hope to rely on Thaldrin as they have all throughout IWCI. Vladimir could always become a huge terror. He'd be pretty hard to kill by this comp as well. TSM really not burst enough to like remove Vlad at the start of the fight. All the point and click CC they do have could be sanguine pooled as well. So that is a player I really want to look for to see if that can carry Besiktas through these team fights.
And the thing is, even if, Vladimir does get strong, and even if they do go for maybe a split pushing strategy with that Vlad, Ziggs is so good at denying split push, being able to cover 2 lanes at once.
Yeah, the Mega Inferno Bomb just fantastic. If you don't necessarily have that strong wave control, you just throw your Ziggs sort of halfway between lanes and just clear everything from forever away. It's really frustrating.
And that's going to be really hard. Besiktas, of course, a bit of a newer team in TSM, of course, been around forever. The shot calling generally not going to be as strong for the teams coming out from developing regions. So if you can get them out rotation, you're like, all right, we got the top turret, and then Ziggs ult comes through, just all the wind comes right back out your sails. Definitely going to be an uphill battle, I think, for the international wildcard team of Besiktas, but there's always a chance they can do it. Team solo mid in front of a home crowd, hoping to pull back from a loss earlier in the day.
Yeah, Besiktas also are unafraid to go completely ham against these top-tier teams as well, and it's beautiful to see.
All right, well, let's see if Theocles can make some early moves on the Rek'Sai.
Well, let's see if most of the team can make some early moves on any lane that they decide to choose.
I don't know about Vladimir. He's got a rough time making early moves.
Well, we'll see. He might just flash pull someone. Who knows? And Thaldrin might have an interesting idea here.
Well,
They're moving in a stack here. They've left Theocles behind, but they're looking to try and get something down. But a nice ward from Wild Turtle going to stop any funny business from the Turkish lineup.
Yeah, I think that is sort of the name of the game here this time around for Team Solo Mid. They don't want anything to go stray. They don't want any surprises in their game. Just pick a bunch of wave clear, team fighting, everybody defensively ward at the opening. They've been able to answer since they saw 4 people invade on red side. They got mirrored wards over on Besiktas red side.
Interestingly, Besiktas actually got deeper wards in. They've got one between the tier 2 and the inhib to like look for lane swap positions. Whereas TSM don't really show that they invaded, they just have wards all over the jungle itself to pin down exactly where Theocles starts.
Yeah, and their early warding is fantastic as well. It's not the fact that they've all gone in as a stack and sacrificed the top side of the map. They've got early warding to show exactly where Besiktas are the entire time.
And Dyrus doing a smart thing as well. 2 saplings under the Raptor camp. Bjergsen's going to toss a bouncing bomb at 155, get the 3 little mini Raptors. He's going to start the lane halfway to level 2 almost, and an early lane advantage for Bjergsen. TSM don't even have to gank for him to do that.
Yeah, and Dyrus is actually going to be hovering on the top side, going to head to lane instead of trying to double jungle. So he's going to go ahead and soak up experience. Once again, we'll see Lucian on the top side. Looks like on the minimap, he's trying to group up the minions to try and get it to push against him. But by keeping it so far out in the lane, Dyrus able to walk there and soak up experience.
Yeah, and Dyrus also on Maokai. I mean, he's able to ranged wave clear with that sapling toss, and of course, Arcane Smash not too bad at that either, especially if you're underneath the turret, so he's not going to be too worried on that champion. We'll see what TSM decide to do, whether they want to be fast pushing. It looks like they're trying to pre.
And the thing is, the texture of these lanes is so much better for Team Solo Mid. Dyrus is not going to be pressured by Morgana for a very long time. The lane is so close to his turret. Meanwhile, for TSM, there's so much threat of Lustboy hooking from the brush that Besiktas have to double jungle with their Vladimir, and Thaldrin's going to be held very far down early on.
And that is ridiculous as well. Darius actually hitting level 2 before the duo lane, not getting zoned out of any experience there in the top lane.
And the thing is for Vladimir too, in double jungling, it really sets him behind in levels, which is the most important thing. He has to get to the point where he can sustain himself in a lane. If he comes out of the double jungle, he has a hard time finding a safe lane to go anywhere. Even though he has a pool, it's still easy to take advantage of an under-leveled Vladimir. Lustboy here, let's see what he's going to do. A little bit of an invade and upset this double jungle.
Going for some funny business. Just face checks two people. There's the knockup as well. Cauldron not going to have any CC for this one. Santorin making his way around. Lostboy flashes out of the way. TSM are going to be safe for now. That was very aggressive by Lostboy.
He's only got 100 health left. Chugging the potion. I guess he's not in the worst spot ever since he can chug more potions to stay alive. But, you know, a tactic we've seen TSM use before. This one not executed quite as cleanly. Good quick jungling by BJK gets them the red buff before they can be meddled with.
Yeah, I guess the fact that Lustboy was just a little bit late, and of course the smite on the red buff giving Theocles a lot of his health back there as well, being very important to that one, because it could have been, you know, a flay, a bit of help by the red buff might have actually helped them net themselves a kill, but not going to happen. And Energy taking a bouncing bomb in the mid lane, but he's not under too much trouble. He's a Lulu.
All right, so for the first 4 minutes of the game, TSM, while the gold is even, TSM got a substantial experience advantage because they basically had 3 lanes of experience income since Darius has been up here leeching. Right now, it's gotten to the more dangerous stage, though, as Darius is fully extended and there's a Morgana as the support. Offers a lot more kill pressure. So the next couple of minutes, we'll see how Darius fares because now he has a lead over Vladimir, a level lead. And if they're able to, in the next few minutes, swap it back around that 7-minute mark when the turret defense does go down, TSM could have a pretty big advantage.
Yeah, there's
so
not
far,
really much.
you know, Darius didn't get picked off yet.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we're looking at the fact that Darius hasn't been picked off, but they've still left that entire top side of the map completely dark on the side of TSM. They still don't really mind whether he gets camped.
Well, that's the thing. It's always a trouble here. You could always chance for that kill. Darius is facing a Morgana. Dark Binding is not easy to dodge without Flash from Maokai. Rek'Sai good anchor as well. Yeah, if there's a minion in range, but look, right, you can see binds like this. Double Doge can now actually completely zone out Darius. TSM choose to play aggressively. Of course, they can see Theocles, they can see Thaldrin.
Nice.
And this 2-on-2 is working really well.
Yeah, I would have actually expected Double Doge to play that a little bit more aggressively when he had the brush control.
Yeah.
Darius was really hugging the river without any extra vision and still getting a lot of experience, but a lot of it is due to Theocles having to babysit this Vladimir. As I said, double jungle Vladimir under-leveled. Even if he does go to that lane, it's very hard for him on the bottom lane to sustain even under his turret, so he needed a little bit more babysitting.
And the thing is, we're seeing TSM start playing the second half of this lane swap a lot better. Santorin's just running around jungling. He's just getting a bunch of golden experience, taking scuttlers, taking camps down. Theocles, like, sharing XP in a dual lane is not a great use of the jungler's time. We are seeing Lustboy run around and harass the jungle. Thaldrin's getting some CS now, but now it's going to freeze out against him again.
And consider the champions that the junglers are on as well. Sejuani loves it when you lane swap. Sejuani versus Gragas or Sejuani versus Rek'Sai, both of those, the Sejuani player is very happy to have the lane swap and have more time to just farm up. She scales much better. Once she gets her level 6, we'll probably see more action from Santorin.
The question is, where would that action even go? Because right now, TSM happy to play the game exactly as it is. No real turret pushes. Nice play right there. You can see Thaldrin has to respect how scary this could be. Santorin really aggressive. He's basically 1 versus 3 in this jungle. Gets the camp and gets out.
Yeah. Confident counter jungling there without the mid lane pressure.
That's the weak side of the map. He shouldn't even be allowed to do this.
And he took no damage as well from the early skirmishing jungler. A hook now onto Thaldrin here on the bottom side. Nice boomerang from Wild Turtle, and Double Doge almost getting ignored there. Gets hit by an afterthought auto attack by Wild Turtle.
All right, so BJK finally swamps the lanes back into a 2-on-2, but it's a very awkward 2-on-2. So Darius, and generally speaking, I think, yeah, he's already level 6. He's absorbed so much XP that he's actually out-leveled the Lucian, who 50 CS or not hasn't bought any items yet. Darius is more powerful in this new 1-on-1. Darius recalls hiding away. Like, Darius is getting really massive. And you still have a really awkward 2-on-2 of a low-level Vladimir who can't really do much.
Yeah, and Maokai as well doesn't mind about being a little bit under-itemed, but he wants those levels, and the fact that Darius has been able to just sit in brushes in the top lane and take all the experience that he wants is huge in this. Mega Inferno Bomb, little bit early there by BJK.
Bjergsen trying to grab everything from this mid lane. He's already got a substantial CS lead.
Super huge CS lead.
TSM with over 1,000 gold lead purely from CS.
And this is what we've been talking about. This is what we were trying to mention at the beginning of the Fnatic game, is the fact that this is what TSM does. They lane swap very, very well, and they get advantages just passively off the map.
And actually TSM can take an advantage right now, because of course Mega Inferno Bomb reveals the area it hits. They saw how low it got Theocles, they know he has to recall, they know he just threw the top side jungle, so Theocles must be running bot side. TSM can push top heavily, taking advantage of that.
Yes, Santorin should capitalize because he has hit that level 6 point. This should be the high impact gank. Let's see if Double Doge can pull off a miracle here.
Going for it. Puddle, the tick, not quite enough.
All right, we do have that 7 to 8 minute lane swap back here for TSM. Wild Turtle's got his BF sword, gonna head up top by himself, and we'll see the early roams from both of these supports.
Last boy, skin of his teeth, escaping that one. Bjergsen coming through with a nice knock up there. Energy though, ignoring it just a little bit. Bouncing Bomb gonna find him. Dark Binding not gonna land there by Dumbledore. And like ships in the night, they're gonna pass each other.
Well, Lesbo doing a good job of warding. He knows that his team's going to be pushing the top side out pretty soon. It's past 7 minutes. BF sword on the Sivir. Turrets can die very fast, especially against an under-leveled Vladimir. So ward for the gank paths. Make sure Rek'Sai's not going to get up there and screw everything up. And right now, I think just enough wards that TSM could keep pressuring that side of the map. A lot of good wards on that left side.
All right, well, AD carry up top. The Besiktas go for the crab and get some vision and control around that dragon. The thing is, I don't think TSM are going to force it anytime soon, and Besiktas are not really in the position to start it themselves. So unless they fully cleared it and Rek'Sai knew there was no vision.
And I don't really agree with this by Besiktas as well. They're sending their duo lane towards the top side of the map when Dragon now definitely something that they need to be thinking about.
Well, if you swap it now, then TSM are
And that's just when the swap comes back again.
So they did grab the crab before they sent him back up there, but even if you have vision of TSM taking this, the level 6 Sejuani ready to roll. Dyrus is massively out-leveling Vladimir. Vladimir not even level 6 right now. TSM typically not good dragon control early game at all.
Yeah.
And
when it's on a silver platter, you're going to take it, right?
well,
yeah, they are late to get Dyrus to the top lane here, so Nardius gets a lot of damage. He has no ward control, though, because his team was never up there, so he doesn't know he's safe to knock this turret down. Then, like, he has a late recall. It's very awkward how they're playing the Dragons here, but make an attempt for Dumbledore.
Yeah, there's a really nice lantern there to get a Wild Turtle in there, but Dumbledore actually manages to get the Dark Binding just in time to save his life. Wild Turtle a little bit trigger happy on the ultimate.
well, they get a Morgana flash instead of starting up the Dragon and trying to force something while Besiktas AD carry was in base. The rotation is complete now as AD carry's gone bottom. I don't think they saw that teleport channeled.
They would have to know because he got there so fast. He was just seeing bottom lane. There's no way they don't expect that to be a TP. Dumbledore down to half again. Also flashless and not 6. So he's going to be in a dangerous spot. Santorin coming around the backside. I don't think he's been seen yet. It's going to be a close fight.
For something here as the Dark Passage is going to be taken by a Wild Turtle, but Santorin coming around the side.
Shield's down.
There's another boomerang. Dumbledore just so low, misses the ult, but it doesn't matter as the Death Sentence comes through. Last boy flashes out of the way, so close to dead as Nardius manages to escape as well, but it's a free kill for TSM and probably a free turret unless Theocles can get something magical happening. And Energy's going to face check Bjergsen.
And it's going to be a close one. Energy on a half HP. He's got to dodge the minefield away. Bjergsen tries to dodge. Glitter Lance will not do so just yet, but Energy is still happy to trade back and forth. More bouncing bomb, good juke to the right. Nothing else picked up. Lustboy taking a lot of damage, and he's going to have to back off.
Yeah, TSM there taking a lot of exit damage after that dive. The Cinder Hulk drawing tower aggro as well for Santorin. Took a few hits for himself. But they did get the kill with that zoning Sejuani ultimate, cutting off the exit. They knew that he didn't have flash, remember?
No flash, no black
from
shield.
the early Lustboy confrontation at the Tribush. But again, this is TSM's lack of focus on the early Dragons.
Yeah.
They had many opportunities to take it this game, but time and time again, they do not emphasize these Dragons at all. Looking more for the kills, the tower dives, and trying to get the gold from early turrets, but not getting either.
It's very strange. They had a clean pick. They got the kill. No one had to take that much damage during the fight itself. easy run up to the Dragon. Bjergsen already had pressure in the mid lane. This guy's up 40 CS in the mid lane. That's basically free for TSM. They agreed for a dive. That fails. They give up all the advantage they had from that kill. Sure, they're accruing a gold lead. TSM are winning, but it's sloppy.
Yeah, we are being very critical, but they definitely have a substantial lead, and they don't have to, do anything that is even remotely risky right now. I
suppose not.
If the game continues as is, it looks very solid for them.
And it's not only the fact that Bjergsen has a CS lead, he's taken the turret already as well. With no actual rotation by anyone, he's just naturally destroyed a turret on his own.
And of course, TSM have done a very good job. The one thing I will commend them a lot for is not only their laning phase, but their ward control. They've really not allowed Theocles to make any good plays here. So if your lanes are all winning and the turrets slowly die, you're just going to keep winning the game by kind of staying as is.
Tries to ignore all the TSM members around him, but he's most definitely going to be... What? They're ignoring him, trying to give the kill to Wild Turtle. They'll manage to. Looking for Nadius now as well. TSM, the Omega Inferno Bomb for the epic overkill.
3 ults for an 80 carry. Goodbye, Lucian. Bot lane turret,
That's
easy
respect.
to follow.
That is respect right there.
All right, well, that should be a dragon because the bottom lane is gone. They don't even need any extra people to take the bottom turret. Turtle's going to stick around for the local gold while everyone else takes care of the dragon. TSM will get their first of the game.
The good news for Besiktas, though, is the fact that Vladimir has caught up a little bit in farm.
All right, so he's getting some money. The problem is, all of TSM.
So they're taking the rest of the map, but Vladimir doing relatively not quite as bad as he could be doing right now.
And once again, the importance that I put on levels for Vladimir. Levels. He's finally hitting the point, where his transfusion is meaningful. And nobody gets caught.
Did get hit by a Prey Seeker, or at least hit out of a Prey Seeker, but look, that was enough to save his life. They're both going to back now as well, as Bjergsen going to clear out this mid lane of both minions and tunnels. It's a decent array of tunnels around the Besiktas map as well, as Void Rush is going to be used to at least make it to his red buff. Such a dramatic sound. Going to get buffed.
The farm alarm, It's like, guys, I really want some more gold. I guess it lets everyone know I'm full health and somewhere in my jungle. So, gives TSM some knowledge of what Rek'Sai is normally like. Full health and in their own jungle.
It also gives them knowledge that there won't be any cross-map plays from Besiktas in the near future. So, Wild Turtle and Lesboy up there on the top versus Vladimir should feel just fine.
And I like this from Darius as well. I mean, he knows that he probably wants to pick up that Righteous Glory, but going to be sitting on that Spectre's Cowl for a little while as well, making sure that he can lane as well as ever against the Vladimir, and he has been able to. Now it is going to be TSM rotating around, picking up the last outer turret on the map by the looks of things, but Lustboy wants to find someone else to kill. Oh my goodness, lands the death sentence over the wall. Dumbledore able to get a decent Dark Binding, and Theocles going to tunnel his way out over the wall as well. TSM, they deserve to get something from that amazing hook.
Well, they should get some ward coverage for it.
Yes,
that's worth
vision. Beautiful.
With the mid turret already down, some deep wards should come in pretty quickly here for TSM. And they're already looking to move into enemy territory.
And look, Bjergsen's still here, just able to kill all the minions, the turrets. He's playing PvE, League of Legends.
Well, he's got the Athene's Ziggs in the mid lane with blue buff, constant blue buffs as well. So the barrage of bombs should continue, and the mid lane pressure not punished at all by Rek'Sai.
Not at all.
TSM continued a very good set of word control and energy, actually about to be flanked out by Darius' Maokai here. This might be a little bit risky. Flashes in. There's going to be a couple of knockups as well. Energy does have the ulti onto himself. Still going to take Mega Inferno Bomb, and a re-engage comes in. Theocles in a 1 versus 4, maybe not where he wanted to be as Rek'Sai, running away as fast as possible. Now in comes Vladimir. Thaldrun doing whatever he possibly can. Bjergsen forced away. Nardius picks up the first kill for Besiktas. Looks like mid laners always the first kills.
Yeah, Thaldrun is dead though. Lustboy forced to flash away. Nardius at full health though, wants to find someone to kill. Lustboy might be in a little bit of trouble. There's the dash forward, but Wild Turtle, he's going to tell Besiktas to get away from his support. They're going to happily move towards the top lane.
Yeah, scramble there for TSM, and Besiktas actually quite happy to trade their under-leveled Vladimir for a kill on the Ziggs. Highest level in the game, and it goes to the AD carry. So definitely happy with that trade for Besiktas.
And Nadius is known as a carry for his team as well. If you get him the tools to carry in the later stages of the game, and even when they were in the finals of the IWCI, it wasn't pretty in the early stages. They managed to make this happen towards the later stage, but here's the replay.
All right, so this is the ants marching in one by one. TSM first focusing on energy, then Theocles comes to try and save Lulu. Takes a bunch of damage himself. And TSM basically just taking on all challengers, getting each of them very low, but only being able to finish off the Vladimir there. And as they split up, taking a bunch of tower hits, good kill there by Lucian on the edge, coming in from behind to flank Bjergsen.
Like we said, we are again going to have solo laners facing off. Of course, Vladimir without a turret going to be in a little bit more danger, and a massive lead for Darius, about 30 CS, as the Void Rush is going to get Theocles very close to the members of TSM. Dark Binding and a Lamb, but they don't want to go against that very tanky Piggy.
No, and it seems like for the next 2 minutes, TSM can happily play to the top side of the map. This Sivir giving so much time to push this top lane down. I think we'll finally neck on the top outer. They can pressure top tier 2 as well, force a lot of Besiktas over, and they can relocate their team to the bottom side, prep that Dragon coming in a minute and a half, and we'll see the switch focus from TSM towards that south side.
Yeah, Nadius is not afraid of Wild Turtle as well, walking past the minions there, knowing that there are 4 members of TSM on that top side of the map. Could have been dangerous. Theocles in full vision of TSM, playing up very far as well. This could be dangerous, but they are going to lose a blue buff here. Bjergsen definitely wants to pick that one up. Oh, that was close. The Culling trying to do some work, but it's not going to happen. Wild Turtle's going to grab that. Bjergsen wants to pick one up as well, but Sivir with a blue buff, that is an annoying thing to deal with as well. Oh, Centaurine looking for the Arctic Assault. Doesn't get there.
Yeah, actually, if TSM wanted to go with the 4-1, the 4-1 is extremely strong with Sivir and Ziggs pushing. Even if, you know, they have Vladimir with teleport also trying to match. Oh, there's a Sivir. Nope.
Great bindings there. You're seeing why Morgana was first picked.
Yeah.
Well's banned away from them by SK Telecom T1. Dumbledore's definitely some good dark bindings here, but unfortunately TSM, of course, still well in control of the map.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Those bouncing bombs in the minefield doing a lot of work.
All right, so the fight over the wards leading up to Dragon here for TSM. Victory is theirs, and they will be able to litter the red side, so they should be able to continue on with the chain dragons for themselves. Everyone's in position, and once again, even if they go 4-1 and they have Vladimir matching up with Maokai, not only can Dyrus stop the Maokai teleport, stop the Vladimir teleport if he channels first.
I'm gonna need to stop you because that's a Luden's Echo.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It is.
We haven't seen one yet, and I'm super excited. MSI's first Luden's Echo, and I love this item, and it's on the team.
You're gonna have a lot of poke with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're talking about, yeah, Dyrus can stop the teleports from Thaldrin. Dragon coming up.
So that means that Dyrus will 100% be guaranteed to have the first teleport into the fight, and even if Vladimir answers the teleport, the impact of that Vladimir coming in is minimal compared to the impact of the Flash Maokai coming into the fight. The flanking gauge, very real for TSM. So their path to finishing out this game should be fairly simple.
Well, they've just taken a free second dragon here as well. Thaldrin able to pull away from the twisted advance.
And then his health goes right back to full because Vladimir.
Yep, because just Vladimir things free.
Well, still Dyrus holding on to the matchup. It was interesting seeing TSM choose their lanes because Dyrus, as you had mentioned earlier, rushed to Spectre's Cowl after the Catalyst. And then TSM kept finding different lane matches, trying to get Sivir to push down against the solo lane, so the magic resist of Dyrus wasn't all that useful, but Nardius not really able to push around it very much, so overall TSM looking just fine. 6,000 gold lead for them 21 minutes in here. As you mentioned, Kobe, going for 3 more dragons, maybe a 38-minute win could be TSM's trajectory here in this one. But I want to see if, because of all this wave clear, because they can make these quick rotations and make these Thresh Sivir sort of pick plays, I want to see if they play a more aggressive rotation-based game and just knock down these tier 2 turrets off a smart place.
And it just looks like a bit of suffocation coming through as well. This is what they're using their Ziggs for, is the fact that Besiktas can't enter their jungle here as well because these waves are constantly being shoved in. Besiktas need to move where TSM wants them to move, and TSM just can take everything away. It's sort of like the slow loss.
Yeah.
Besiktas, they've got to make a solid move here around the map, change something, because they're just slowly losing this game.
Oh, that's the case. But the one lane that Besiktas are actually getting a push lead in would be that Vladimir lane. Thaldrin is generally killing the minion wave first. Dyrus is typically respecting that. But Vlad's not a great turret killer anyway, and trying to run away from the slow burn of Maokai Sejuani is not easy either. So with the current sort of item set, you're right, there's no good push pressure from Besiktas. TSM do have siege power.
Yep, here's that 4-1 we were looking for. You know, we have the Ziggs and the Sivir instantly clearing out waves. So much zoning power with those two as well. You can see the minefield goes down. Large chunk out of the turret. Dyrus got the top wave pushed up as well. So TSM can easily make a rotation. They have Sivir ultimate available.
And Dumbledore just gets chunked out. They easily take down the turret. Thaldren now forced to use the pull. Lustboy gets the flash for his death sentence, but that could mean the inner turret here on the top lane as well. And TSM surgically removing structures.
Yeah, two people not going to be part of this fight. Thaldren knocked well out. Morgana still healing right here, so great rotation by TSM. Darius gets the push. He chunks out the Vladimir, and there we go. 2 more turrets knocked down. Team still mid, looking like a game faster than 38 minutes.
Yeah, it could even be just move down to the bottom side. The thing of warding up this Baron here as well. TSM maybe just going for the risky play.
Well, it's not even that risky, right?
I'm saying risky. I'm saying risky because it's a 23-minute Baron, but they've got full control of the map. So, yeah, I guess risky was probably.
And they have such great control over the choke points leading up to Baron that it's very risky for Besiktas to head over to that area because, you know, Zig Sejuani. Looks like they will head over, though.
Yeah, there's the flash into the Twisted Advance as well. And Theocles, yeah, that's 5 members of TSM, dude. You're not going to survive that.
Dumbledore is about to face 5 as well. Bounce bomb hits the wall. Nardius right in the front, goes for it. Tries to make the big play. Flash the way, still goes down to the critical strikes. Dumbledore to the backside, knocked down as well. Sniped, if you will. And energy also going to get dropped there. 4 for 0 TSM off the back of a Baron.
And Thaldren there as well, just asking where all of his mates went. They just died in the jungle. The blue buff going to fall down. Bjergsen picks that one up. Baron buff TSM, only a Vladimir. This is very frightening, and 12,000 gold now the lead.
Thaldren still having a good time, though. Vladimir with the laughs. Now, speaking of TSM's trajectory, not only in this game, but for the rest of the group stages, they did have that surprising to some, loss to Fnatic, which was a very crucial opening game for them, and they took it, fairly heavily, immediately retreating to the backstage to go talk that one over. This one, very obviously, wanting to take it very slow, standard, focus completely on objectives, take it step by step. For the rest of the group stages, and even just the rest of today, they have a very formidable opponent coming up. In which they will not be able to play the game this safe because the pace of the game will be much more quick. So TSM, yes, take this win and recover from the early loss earlier today. And we'll see what they come up with for the rest of the group stage here and the rest of today.
Almost like a reset game or something.
Now we can see the TSM, of course, still good at playing the lane swaps. That was where their primary early lead came from. Bjergsen, of course, had a very strong 1v1 as well and got a turret for his troubles. Team still mid now with Baron buff for the next minute, looking to maybe knock down some of these inhibitor turrets. As Baron times out, Dragon will respawn, so a convenient timing there. TSM can stop the siege, rush that down. That 13,000 gold each make it very hard for them to lose any fights here. Bottom lane's going to get pushed down. Besiktas not in position to stop them. It's going to be the turret kill, and the fight begins.
Yeah, and inhibitor turret falling down there as well. Centaurn looking for the ult, but doesn't even really need to use it. As Theocles takes almost all of his health. Thaldren, way in the backside of the fight, is just going to fall down. Mega Inferno bomb. See you later, as the inhibitor is going to be taken down next. Nardius with some decent footwork there, going to avoid some of the damage, but man, getting Arctic assaulted. Energy gets death sentenced, and Lustboy, this Thresh, super aggression, but he's landing these skill shots.
And it's going to be enough skill shots to have TSM push into the base. Still a few slivers left on this Baron buff, and that means they can push right on in to Nexus turret number 2. Nardius, slinks away with the skin of his teeth, but this will be GG. A 26-minute game. Bjergsen forced to still run out, but it's going to be the Nexus. All the same, Team Silamid pick up their first win of MSI 2015.
Congratulations, and Besiktas, nothing they could do in that game, and that was TSM out with something to prove in that match.
Yeah, Besiktas, they do get some valuable experience against TSM in a lane swap. Lane swap's one of the hardest things to get very good, high-level competitive experience in, so they'll definitely keep that VOD and keep that one for research.
Yeah, make sure that they can assess exactly what went wrong, but it was really surgical there by TSM. This was them just playing out their strengths, knowing exactly what they're capable of, and that was their game the entire time.
Yeah, showing that they were not shaken so heavily just by one loss so far in the group stages, and we'll see what they come up with later today.
And they won games exactly as you expect TSM to win games. Over in North America, they are one of the best, if not the best team at lane swaps. Got a huge lead from that, a couple thousand gold just from no kills at all, but purely outplaying the laning phase. Dyrus had 1 or 2 levels over Thaldrin. Massive Maokai was online much sooner overall in this game. Santorin actually picked a champion you're okay just farming on. The lane swap helps that as well, but Sejuani came online, got to toss in ults. All these things came together, and TSM started moving around the lanes, trying to pick off turrets, and Bjergsen also 1v1 master. The Ziggs was big, solo kills his own turret, crushes his lane opponent by 40 minions or more. It's the way TSM wins games.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, and there's also the fact that Bjergsen was just left alone for the entire game. It was just, we saw the focus on mid lane coming through earlier on, but this is what happens when you leave Bjergsen on his own. He just kills everything.
Yeah, also, earlier versus Fnatic, Bjergsen was on a melee champion, so he's much more exposed, especially a melee champion like Cho'Gath that's constantly shoving. So on Ziggs, much safer.
Yeah, that's true. But for more on Team Solo Mid's win, let's throw it over to Dash and company on the desk.
Thank you, Atlas. And gentlemen, there, TSM resorting to relatively safe champions. You have to wonder whether or not they're a little shaken up after that first win of the day, or first loss of the day, rather.
You know, I'm a little disappointed and heartbroken, kind of like when you get to a restaurant and you're 5 minutes late after happy hour is already over. They picked the safest champions you could possibly pick. Almost no skill ceiling to these champions. You got Maokai, Sejuani, Ziggs, Sivir, and Thresh would be the only exception, but they played at the previous game. I feel like they just wanted to have a little bit of a burst of confidence. You'd expect them to win this game. Just guarantee the win. Pick these super safe champions so that you get a boost of morale. Maybe the expectations for them were set a little bit too high and the pressure is getting to them. You know, the entire crowd there wants TSM to win. A lot of people here want TSM to win. And then, you know, they get blown out of the water by Fnatic. They got to get their confidence back somehow, because if they lost this game, they'd pretty much be out of the tournament.
Yeah, I feel like losing to Fnatic is nothing bad, though. I think that Fnatic just played a really strong game. But yeah, I thought TSM was, I don't know, not so polarizing with the last picks, going for the Ziggs, going not for an assassin or anything like this, not going with any great TP plays, just actually beating them standard, and well, that was actually the game.
Yeah, they still looked pretty scared. Yeah. Santorin didn't make any early moves for 11 minutes in the game. He didn't even show himself in a damn lane. Like, that guy needs to have some pressure if he's going to be competing in this tournament against the world's best. And these junglers, we saw EDG, we saw SKT, they're going to be putting pressure on lanes. He needs to step up. And I also think that picking things that are safe like this is fine. Low execution is totally fine. Like, you say it's like getting to happy hour 5 minutes late, but the food is still good. You're still going to get satisfied with what you pay for.
The other thing, right, is where I think you don't have to give anything away in this game. You're going up against like SKT, EDG. These are must-win games now. Like, why are you going to bust out a brand new team composition to beat the international wildcard team? Like, play something super standard, go back into your lane swap. You've played that way all season long. Like, you're not trying to blow these guys out of the water. Like, at the end of the day, a win's a win, and they just picked it up, so fantastic work.
Exactly that. At the end of the day, a win's a win. Solid victory there for TSM, getting themselves on the board. We're going to kick it over to Shox for a word with TSM's man in the mid lane.
Well, thank you very much, Dash. Indeed, joined here by Bjergsen. After receiving end of a lot of applause in this one. And well, 1-1 so far, and today in MSI. Of course, the first thing I have to ask you is about that very first game versus Fnatic. A lot of people, as said, coming in, really pinned you guys as the favorites. Is that maybe one of the factors why you guys didn't perform in that very first game?
I wouldn't say it was because we felt like we came in as the favorites. I think we just had some... We tried to pick out Rain over Rek'Sai because he had been doing really well on it, but then he just picked Gragas and he played so well anyway. So I think we kind of came in with the wrong priorities in terms of the pick ban, and then we weren't ready for the Cassiopeia pick, and it was something that Huni just did very well on. So I think next time we play Fnatic, we'll definitely adapt better, but they did better that game for sure.
All right, so clear analysis already of everything that didn't go well in this game, in that game, and a very, very good game versus BJK. But last game of the day, SK Telecom versus TSM. That is, of course, the one that you're very much looking forward to. How does the fact that you lost that first game change your confidence going into that one, and how much can you guys realistically do?
I think SKT, we have a lot better of a feel against them. We watched them play very recently in the LCK finals, and we scrimmed against them here, so we have a better idea of what they play. They may have a better idea of what we play, but I think we'll go in with a lot better planning against SKT. And I don't think losing to Fnatic is going to really bring us down in terms of confidence. We still know we're a good team, and we know what mistakes we made and what we need to change.
Right. Is SKT a team that you see that might come out with a curveball to you guys, or is that not something that you guys are holding into account?
Of course, they can throw a curveball at us, but they're also blue side, so they can't have the crazy counter picks on something like mid lane. They're probably going to be blinding a mid, so I feel like SKT is going to be playing very, very solid, and I wonder what mid they're going to play.
Yeah, well, we all are looking forward to that one. Congratulations on that victory, Björksen. And as for us, we're going to shoot it back over to Dash and the dudes over at the desk.
Thank you, Shocks and dudes. We're going to have a quick recap of the action we've seen so far today. First up, from Game 1, Fnatic versus TSM, we saw a lot of pressure coming out from Rainover early in the game.
Man, poor Dyrus here, like getting killed over and over in top lane.
He's used to it, let me tell you. From NA, he's rather used to that.
And then this right here just shows how one-sided this matchup is. Gragas doesn't even get an assist. Cassiopeia gets a full-on solo kill. He's just there as a spectator to watch him die.
The pressure, and from Game 2, Besiktas versus SKT. Slow start for SKT, but they showed that they were not going to be, put off kilter, and later in the game dominated team fights.
And their team fight was just so good in choke points. Azir, Rumble, you cannot fight that there.
All right, and finally, Game 3, EDG versus AHQ. 25 minutes for a 5-for-2 there in the jungle. It just shows that EDG, when they do have that slight lead, they're not afraid to fight.
Mountain was looking for that engage, and they saw that coming and just immediately stopped there by make a really good support play.
They were just like bashing heads the entire
ships in the night, except they hit each other.
the real definition of ships in the night, running straight into. But it shows you too how close this game was in terms of on a knife's edge, where this, another second or two in a Karthus.
I think both teams were playing the skirmish game really well, but there was no towers falling down till 80 minutes. There was just fighting, and then
it's a tank meta.
It's a tank meta where you throw yourself into each other and hope that you survive.
Bumping heads, man. We covered it already. They're just going to keep running at each other.
A fair number of games under our belt. Here's a look at how the teams are stacked up in the standings. Currently, EDG, Fnatic, and SKT are tied with 1 win apiece at the top of the table, followed by TSM, who's 1-1 after that victory over Besiktas. And meanwhile, AHQ and Besiktas are currently winless at the bottom of the table. So, gentlemen, initial thoughts on how this tournament is shaping up.
I like the way that EDG was on top of that table. Definitely agree with that. Clearly,
nothing to do with alphabetical order.
I liked it.
I think the next game coming up, which I think is Fnatic versus AHQ, is going to be the one that really tells us what's going on with these games. Because if AHQ manages to take this game, that means that they're no longer, as we thought, bottom 2 teams. Like, they can actually have a run for the top 4 and make it into the semifinals, which would be really interesting, because that would mean that TSM and Fnatic, or whoever else starts to lose games, will be in contention for not even making it out of the tournament.
Yeah, flip side of that, if Fnatic run over the top of them, it means their team fight style wins against both aggressive and passive team comps, and everyone has to throw out that they really don't understand the current meta, which is being thrown around a lot, because, they're going to do it against 2 teams.
Yeah, I feel super excited right now about the game coming up, because I was right in the beginning with Fnatic, and I think they come out really strong. And just to grasp already to the front, I think that Fnatic does really well as well against the playstyle from HQ, and we kind of see fire against fire again, I feel like, and this is just something exciting me.
All right, yeah, well, we've got some great games under our belt, still plenty of games to go. If you're looking to join fellow league fans and watch the mid-season Invitational Finals this Sunday, you're in luck, because Coca-Cola is teaming up with Cinemark Theaters to host viewing parties from coast to coast all over the country. Not only will attendees be able to catch the best of 5 series action on a big screen, but they will also take home a collectible Heimerdinger Cup. The finals will play at 15 different locations on May 10th, and for more information, you can check out lolesports.com/VP. Now, we've only just hit the halfway point. When we return, Fnatic will face off against AHQ Esports Club. Keep it tuned right here. The action continues in just 3.5.
Dumble Doge.
This is
10 points for Dumble Doge.
Yeah, that was the most troll comment ever. Another boomerang. Dumbledore just so low, misses the ult, but it doesn't matter as the death sentence comes through. Last boy flashes out of the way, so close to dead.
Nardius right in the front, goes for the tries to make the big play, flash the way, still goes down to the critical strikes.
Inhibitor turret falling down there as well. Centurion looking for the ult, but doesn't even really need to use it as Theocles takes almost all of his health. Aldrin way in the backside of the fight.
Team Zulamid pick up their first win of MSI 2015.